Magmore Caverns. Welcome back to more Let's Play Metroid Prime. Last time, we defeated, I believe it was Flagra? We then obtained the Varia Soup, did some much-needed backtracking for several useful items. Now here we find ourselves back in Magmore Caverns. Which, to be fair, we didn't really explore much, but we're going to make our way through and see just what we can find. Now, as you can imagine, the area is filled with quite a bit of fire, as I showed you last time. But it's also filled with some real good music. It also, of course, has some new enemies. Morphology, Puffer. Unstable gas-filled organism will rupture on contact. Puffers fill their bodies with lethal metavibrium gas and float about in search of food. If ruptured, the gas within the puffer is violently released. Despite their fragile bodies, puffers are aggressive hunters. The gas cloud they release upon death is often fatal to the creature that brings them down as well. Interesting that literal gas balls hunt with seemingly no mouths or any other method of hunting other than gas. But hey, I guess I'm not one to judge. Just a little odd is all. And the game's a little sneaky here. Stress fractures can be seen all throughout this sandstone wall. They make it look like a dead end, but your morph ball bombs will be able to help you on through. Now, if it wasn't obvious enough, the biggest danger down here in Magmore Caverns is going to be all of the lava / magma. Because let me tell you, it's quite hot. And at no point in the game will you ever be able to just tank the damage or not take the damage from, say, a new suit or something. Otherwise, a new creature. Morphology, Triclops. Hard-shelled creatures with powerful jaws. The Triclops is a hunter-gatherer. It collects small creatures in bits of foodstuff, then deposits them elsewhere for later consumption. The hard tripartite mandibles it uses to move earth and rock are quite strong and difficult to escape once ensnared. Quite a few strange and big words. So as you notice, if you try to roll into it with the morph ball, they'll simply grab you and spit you out. If you get grabbed, simply lay a bomb, and they'll pick it up and more or less meet their end. Now, if you're quick enough, they'll instead grab your bomb rather than you and die that way. So, they're not all that hard. Bit of a minor annoyance, if anything, but still not too bad. Man, look at that red vapor. Ugh. It just makes you realize this place is hot. Which, to be fair, with a lot of the color direction and stuff like that in this game, they do a really phenomenal job of showing rather than telling, which is honestly pretty cool. Let's see, I want to say in this room, there is a, yeah, I think it's over here. I might be wrong, but I want to say there's a way you can get into the grate down here. I forget where exactly it is. Don't remember if the scan visor will help us or not. But I could also be thinking of something later that we need another upgrade for. It's very possible. And as of right now, I think that is the case. I think we need an upgrade. But, just in case, do a little rolling around. Oh, wait, I think it's down in here. Under where we entered. Which, again, what a cool effect. All the, basically, vapors and stuff that are being blown out of that crevice. So yeah, these guys, they're not that bad to deal with. Annoying, but frankly, not a terribly dangerous enemy. Through here, we have, yes, a nice little doorway. Which I think this is just a missile upgrade. It certainly is. One that I will happily take. Very nice. After all, more missiles are always good. We will be using them. And even if we're not using missiles against, say, every single enemy we meet right now, trust me, the more the merrier. Especially for later in the game. You're going to be getting some upgrades that they mentioned, I believe in both the charge beam and missile section, that are going to be very, very missile hungry. So you're going to want every single missile upgrade you can find. And sure, it'll be a while before you get all of them, but they are helpful. Let's see, I believe over here. Hop on up. And I am a little low on energy, so be sure to blow open some crates. Try and get what we can out of them. And otherwise, we'll take care of these guys. Start hopping across here. Probably going to take a little damage here, but... Ooh, I didn't. Very nice. Through this door right here. And as you can see, a lot of Magmor is a pretty straight line with very few deviations, which is nice. Now, it's not so nice when you fall into the lava, or I guess magma. I suppose because we are underground, it would be one instead of the other, wouldn't it? Doesn't help, I always forget which is which, but oh well. Here we have some turrets, and these ones I believe are actually upgraded variants. No, they're still just auto defense turrets, but if you notice, they take a little more punishment than your average one. So, be sure to deal with them at range before they start shooting you, because they can rack up damage incredibly quickly, especially when there are several turrets. So, you're going to want to make sure you're staying careful, because while we do have several energy tanks compared to what we started with, they hurt. And if you're playing recklessly too, it's really easy to just get damage racked up and suddenly game over. It's happened to me more than once. So, be careful. And make sure you're paying attention to your energy count. Again, seems like a very rudimentary thing, but, you know, once you get so much health, it gets a lot easier to just ignore things and not really pay attention. Otherwise, report any signs of magma predator activity to Security Central at once. Local crystal formations possess low phazon residue. They do have high volume to the monks of Grondheim. However, recommend processing of crystal for that market once phazon operations cease. Interesting. Geothermal power routing to this station is complete. Unstable magma flow is a concern. Remove tower from geothermal grid if fluctuations exceed safety levels. Well, and I guess that answers my question. It's magma because it's underground. Immersion pistons are leaching power from the magma pools as planned. Geothermal power source is promising. Recommend Energy Command deactivate central dynamo and switch to geothermal power at once. Interesting. I mean, hey, if it's effective, why not? Otherwise, it seems to be the only place we can go. And by the way, these crystals, man, they look so cool. And if we can get through the door here. Ah, this room. Remember when I said bomb jumping was going to become important? This is the room that is going to test you. Because if you mess it up, into the lava you go. Even if you get it correct, you still might slip off that edge. So, you gotta be careful. Trust me, it's a bit mean. And you're gonna have to do multiple bomb jumps in a row. So if you mess up once, you gotta start all over again. But, your prize is pretty darn worth it. A full energy tank just for doing a couple bomb jumps? Yeah, sign me up. I would say that is more than worth the effort. Access to Phendrana Drifts North granted. So, out of the fire, and into the cold we go. So yeah, quite the change of scenery here, and I want to say, yeah, this ice structure blocks the hull. A concussive blast should be able to clear it out of the way. I gotta admit, Phendrana is probably one of my favorite areas in this entire game, solely for the music. You also find a ton of upgrades here. So, welcome to Phendrana Drifts. A very nice and snowy area that I think really shows off what this game can do. Otherwise, grading has become brittle from temperature fluctuations. Large traces of radion detected. Which means we can just use missiles. And identify a new enemy. Morphology, crystallite, territorial cold weather scavenger. The shell of a crystallite reflects beam weapons and can only be cracked by a concussive blast. They hang upside down in an ice cave during their larval stage. Moisture runs off its body and forms the hard ice shell, which the crystallite retains for the rest of its life. So, just hit them with a missile. That's all you gotta do. They're not that hard. What do we have here? The door directly above has been unlocked. Well, seems useful to me. Even if it's something you may not have known that you needed to do, it's now done. Now luckily, in most games, the Varia suit enables you to go into hot areas, but it just happenstancely happens that we already have it. And I know that was a redundant statement saying happenstancely happens, but you get the point. All ballistics support personal report to the research lab Hydra. Lockdown Containment Plan 3A in effect until further notice. I'll be honest, it's been really hard to read some of these because they don't have really great grammar. Western Temple is in Phase 2 lockdown. All projects are postponed. Under no circumstances are personnel to attempt access. Because sometimes I feel like there are certain words that should be in there that just aren't. New personnel must report to the South Research Facility. Failure to report will be penalized by a 30% ration cut and extra duty. And of course, we have another little save, which I will be more than happy to take. Thank you, game. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I've just been in a weird tripping over my words kind of mood today. Not that it hasn't happened before, but, well, you get the idea. Sometimes it hits you more than others. Now we have yet another new enemy. Though in this case, I guess it's not really an enemy so much as some local, what would it be, fauna? Morphology, flicker bat. Scavenger with optical camouflaging that renders it invisible to the naked eye. Flicker bats are deceptive creatures. The only way to track them reliably is with X-ray imaging. They fly ceaselessly, hunting insects and other small prey that float on the air currents. Flicker bats tend to fly in cyclical hunting patterns, using primitive sonar to navigate. Interesting. And I guess to be fair, with me stumbling over some of the words, they've been throwing some rather odd ones at us recently. Like cyclical, the weird try one that they threw at us earlier in Magmore. They're really making sure that you have a chance to pronounce some odd things. And yet another new creature. Morphology, scatter bamboo. Pulsing tendrils of energy extend from creature's body. Like all bamboos, these creatures can only be harmed by electrical energy. Proximity to these life forms may result in electrical visor interference. It is possible to avoid engaging scatter bamboos by rolling into the morph ball and slipping between the rotating energy streams. And frankly, it's true. To be fair, I would just kind of keep rolling, and if you take a hit, you take a hit. And there's that electrical interference. Goes to show you that even in this game, they acknowledge it. And what do we have here? Another new creature. Morphology, Baby Sheegoth, Glacial Predator. Ice shell protects vulnerable dorsal area. Young Sheegoths grow a resilient shell of ice on their backs, which serves to protect a layer of vulnerable flesh. With this being their only weak point, baby Sheegoths will turn quickly in order to not allow predators the opportunity to strike at their backs. Powerful hunters, they fire bursts of ultra-cold gas at potential prey, then feast on their frozen victim. So yeah, these little things are frankly annoying. In order to beat them, you basically just have to spam the strafe. Hit them with a charge shot, followed by a missile, or vice versa. You can just missile them twice, really. And they'll take them down. Now, the annoying thing about them is that ultra-cold gas. They're not kidding when they say that it can freeze you. It, will actually freeze you, and then you're stuck in place for a minute, and you have to basically mash all your buttons and wiggle your stick to break out. At least something like that. Otherwise, here we have another spider ball track, which we can't really do anything with. So, hopefully soon, we'll get that. Ooh, nice twofer. And then, you can hear that item, but I want to say it's another one that we can't get yet, because if we look over here, it's through this giant sheet of ice. The ice covering this opening can be melted with extreme heat, which unfortunately we don't have, nor will we have, for a very, very long time, which is a bit of a shame. Still, it would be nice if we did have that ability. Oh well, nothing we can do. Now, because of the map, you already can see all of the beams that we'll be getting, such as the wave beam, ice beam, and plasma beam. For reference, the plasma beam is the one that produces heat. Otherwise, you might think that we'll find the ice beam here, and frankly, that's a fair guess. But I won't spoil what we do find here. Otherwise, another new creature. Morphology, Ice Burrower. Burrower adapted to sub-freezing climates. A hardy life form, the Ice Burrower has adapted to the frigid climb of Phendrana. It spends most of its time tunneling through the frozen soil, but will occasionally surface to attack passerby. Or I guess passersby. Either way, they're just a simple enemy. They pop up, you shoot them. It's kind of like, almost like a weird game of whack-a-mole. There's also another interesting enemy where, frankly, just using the base power beam and not charging is actually more effective than doing a charge shot, because you're more likely to hit them with rapid fire than you are without. So, keep it in mind. And man, getting to see all of Phendrana just like this is so cool. And I say all of Phendrana, but, well, you get the idea. Also, I realized that, yeah, I was supposed to continue that way, not jump down. So, I'm gonna meet you back up there. Alright, now that we are back, and I don't jump down, up here is where we need to go. Which, to be fair, I mean, it doesn't look like there's anywhere else to go, and that jumping down onto that platform we've already been to is the correct idea. It is not. Sometimes, though, you just get a little too excited and you just keep going forward. It's not always the answer, evidently. Otherwise, in here, we have more Sheegoth babies to deal with. If you get lucky, you can hit them before they pop up, and that'll save you quite a bit of time. But, if you see, even hitting them slightly, it makes them a pain. Because if you hit their little legs and not the clear shell, well, oopsies, your entire attack is invalidated, regardless of if it's a missile, a different beam, you name it. It's annoying. Ooh. Now here, well, can't jump up to it, but we have more Chozo lore. Chozo script translated. None know if our temple, the Cradle, will prove powerful enough to contain this evil forever. How can we Chozo hope for it to remain intact when that which it guards writhes in the darkness, growing always stronger? The fate of this world rests with the gathering of artifacts we call the Cipher, but even it is not all-powerful. It is strong, yes, an enchanted whole made of 12 links. Still, it is finite in its reach, and we who guard it are slowly succumbing. When our vigilance crumbles away into madness, the Cipher will be exposed, and the fate of Talon 4 will be beyond our influence. Kind of a really grim message there, just admitting that, well, once they're gone, that's kind of all there is to it. And despite this wall looking suspicious, nothing there. Seems like an area where they would have hit a missile or something, but no. Otherwise, I want to say yes. Down here, little missile door. Another bamboo. And again, frankly, just gonna take the hit, call it good. Beautiful. And through here, I believe they do something very sneaky. When you drop down here, turn around, and there's even more Chozo lore. Chozo script translated. Many Chozo have gone beyond now, and this is a mercy. Those of us who remain suffer in dimensional flux, drifting helplessly across time and space, guided by unseen and inexorable currents. The Chozo who cling to sanity fight the tide, but our minds are weakening. Soon, we will all be like the turned Chozo who have been utterly corrupted by the great poison. The turned still hold to their Chozo forms, but their minds are black with fell intentions. Gone is their respect for life. They honor only destruction and seek to disrupt the artifacts holding the great poison at bay. All life taunts them, and they do not rest. Before long, they will be all that remains of the Chozo here. Or all that remain. Still, some real grim stuff, huh? A lot of the other ones were, you know, nice and lore-filled and super optimistic, whereas now, here we are in the ice area, and it's just all doom and gloom, which is a bit sad, because evidently, we've not seen any alive Chozo, have we? Platform realignment successful. Huh. Cool. Seems like a nice little thing. This is also an area where I'd recommend angling your visor down a little, at least for the initial jump. And my, what do we have here? A new ability, the Boost Ball. Boost Ball acquired. While in Morph Ball mode, press and hold B to charge the ball. Release B after charging to get a speed boost. Additional data downloaded to inventory screen. Press start to access it. Which, with this being our first new upgrade that we did not start the game with, it actually will behoove us to go and read that. So in here, Boost Ball. Boost Ball can be used to increase the Morph Ball's speed for short periods. Press and hold B to charge, then release B to trigger a quick boost of speed. Samus's notes. When charging, the longer you hold B, the longer and faster the boost charge will be. Throughout the environment, you will encounter U-shaped channels known as half-pipes. Using the Boost Ball in these areas will let you reach higher places. build a charge as you descend in the half-pipe, then trigger the boost as you ascend the other side. This will give you the speed and momentum you need to reach new heights. More or less, with the boost ball, we will now be incredibly fast with the morph ball. If it wasn't already... Thank you, little crystal man. If it wasn't already fast enough, the morph ball should now be the ideal method of getting around quickly. Though again, what it makes up for in speed, it lacks in greater maneuverability, especially when it comes to the air. But, funnily enough, now that we have the boost ball, that's actually all we can do here in Phendrana and in Magmore Caverns. So, as quick as we came, it's time to leave. Feels kinda weird, but trust me, we need to go all the way back to basically where we started the game. This is, I feel... Huh? Uh-oh. We know that shadow. It's also kind of funny because I think until the very end there, that shadow is static. But anyways. This is the first part in the game that I feel really does a bad and egregious job of leading you where to go next. Without the hint system, which again is on by default, so this isn't really a problem for anyone who didn't disable it, but without the hint system, you would have almost no idea where to go if you didn't remember that the very beginning of the game had several of these half-pipes. But it's Metroid, so you're supposed to have the inclination to already run around and try all your new abilities in several areas. Still, this is usually the point in the game where the hint system pops in and says, hey, go back to the beginning of the game because there's an item there that you're going to need. One that, frankly, is extremely useful. While the boost ball is good, I want to say the next item that we're going to get is probably... Oh, that's very bad. Well, I guess it worked to get us out of here quicker. But the next item that we're going to get is probably one of my favorites because it is an insane mobility increase. One that, frankly, playing the game without is extremely rough, and man, am I so excited to get it. Still, you gotta go all the way to get the boost ball, and then all the way back with the boost ball. And then, the kicker is that you then have to go all the way back to Phendrana with the new item to progress there. So basically, you're gonna be walking through Magmore Caverns a good few times. And while you could go any other way, there's really not much for you. And I guess to be fair, you know what? I'll meet you back where we came down because I realize there's a better way to go than this way. But again, if you were new to the game, you probably would just take this route and not think of anything else. You would just go this way and that'd be that. You know what? No. I countered my own point in my head. We can't do the thing I'm thinking of because we need the current upgrade we're going to come back with. So, disregard me. Because, again, the game's a little convoluted. Still, making your way back through Magmore really isn't that bad. And plus, going back through the first area, you're going to be able to get almost every single item that you had seen before, which is really nice, including several missile expansions, like the one at the gunship, the one through the half-pipe, and you can even get another extra one that's in the original room you got the morph ball again. So, turns out, continuing to return to the morph ball room with morph ball upgrades pays dividends. Who'da thunk it? Ow. As you can see, the enemies are quite rude and, are very good at bouncing you around, as we've seen quite a bit. Now, to be fair, you can use these little bounces to your benefit. They can give you big boosts of speed, and if you get hit in just the right way, you can do what a lot of speedrunners refer to as a damage boost to get to areas quicker than you otherwise might have been able to. You can also use it to get to areas you maybe shouldn't have been able to in certain situations. That one's usually a bit rarer, but it can still happen. So, up we go. And yeah, this first return trip is a bit brutal. But after this, the rest of the game opens up incredibly. And with the new upgrade, seeing as it is a mobility upgrade that I kind of spoiled, you'll be able to get through areas way quicker than you ever could have before. So, it's well worth your time. And again, I feel this is one of the most egregious examples of this game not doing a great idea of really leading you where you need to go. Past that though, it's still not bad. And luckily for you, getting back to the beginning is just a hop, skip, and a jump away, as we've already seen from me backtracking a bit earlier for some extra missiles. Technically speaking, if you wanted to be even more efficient, you could just wait until now to do all the backtracking, because frankly, we haven't really needed all the extra missiles. Sure, they're helpful, and honestly, it's more for me to check them off of my personal and mental list, but we really didn't need them. I mean, what? I used maybe like 10? So, you could very handily get through the game with, well, a large portion of the game with under, I don't know, like 30 missiles. I wouldn't recommend it, but you could. To remember, this half pipe has another missile expansion. As you can see, the boost ball is pretty darn nice. And like they were saying, it really does increase your speed. So if you want to get around places way quicker, boost ball is the way to go. Especially in little tunnels like this. You'll save so much time. Now, that's right, there's even a half pipe here. It's kind of crazy, all of the ways you can bounce yourself off ledges. I was going to say all of the places that they hide goodies like this. Things that you may not have even thought about the first time you came back to areas like this, or had seen them. But as you can see, there are plenty of things for you hidden all around, almost in plain sight, that you probably never even thought about. Like when you came through here, I doubt you stopped and looked to see all this stuff on the side because you were so focused on what was in the middle. Even then, there's another item for us once we get the next Morph Ball upgrade. So, we'll be sure to keep coming back. And don't worry, that upgrade that's beyond there is actually required for the game. So, for people who are concerned about game clearing as quickly as possible in true Metroid fashion, then don't worry. Realistically, you could wait to get all of the items from that chamber at that point, rather than coming back as often as we have. But again, I figured it'd be nice to get them now, while it made sense. Still, we could have waited. Not a big deal, though. And so, back down we go. It's been a while since we've been back. Beautiful. And then this is probably one of the places that you probably least remember once the game loads the area and opens the door. This is one of those perks, quote-unquote, about using original hardware. Sometimes the game doesn't like to load the area. And usually if it does this, if it gets a little stuck, you usually can just go out another door, come back, and usually by the time you come back, it'll be fine and loaded. Sometimes it's a little finicky though. So, there you go. But yeah, right here. I wouldn't expect you to remember this one, but this whole time, this was a half pipe. Kind of crazy, huh? How they hid things all the way back in the beginning of the game. Ow. But, by coming up here, break that little sandstone wall there. Quite a few of them. We can drop down and come into this nice little alcove. There's a couple zoomers around, but they're not all that scary. And this deposits you up here, where your gunship is. And wouldn't you know it, this whole time, behind our gunship were the space jump boots. One of my absolute favorite upgrades in the entire game. Space jump boots acquired. Press B to jump. While still in the air, press B again to perform an extra space jump. These are so darn good. Interestingly, they're considered a secondary item. The space jump boots increase the leaping capability of the power suit through the use of boot-mounted thrusters. Press B to jump, then press B again during the jump to use the space jump boots. Samus notes, timing is important when using the space jump boots. Experiment to discover ways to increase the height and length of your jumps. So now, we can get to so many places. This is such a nice upgrade. And next time we play Metroid Prime, we'll put them to use. As always, I'm Brad. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.